Okay.
Oh, did you see
We're gonna
what she left here?
Yes, I'll tell you that there's a story with that. All
It's a
right.
dark
Next we
story.
have Jose.
Here we go.
That's
Jose.
Urrutia.
Urrutia.
Yes.
Urrutia with identifying Gouldian mutations. I think this is so
Is
interesting.
somebody sitting here? Can I sit here?
Jose.
All right. Hey, oh, sorry.
By the way, we're doing live streaming.
Oh,
Watch what you say because they can hear you.
From now on,
are we on YouTube?
We're on. We're on
Oh,
YouTube.
We're
Yes.
live.
We're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for your attendance and worldwide broadcast premiere event after 2 events that we already had. Surprise, surprise. Yay!
Yay!
So today we're going to talk a little bit about the Gouldian Finch mutations nest identification. We're not identifying the nest, but actually the Gouldians in the nest.
I
So
think that's interesting. I never thought about that.
Yeah, because they're just little guys with funny looking beaks.
great. So we have our beautiful Gouldians, obviously, in all these mutations and many, many, many more. And then these are obviously the checks before. They actually don't look beautiful to me, but it's fine.
Only a mother could love them.
Yep. Well, why actually do the Gouldians actually have these papillae? The reason they have these papillae is so that the Gouldian parents can actually, between the papillae and the markings, they can actually identify and feed the chicks when they're in the nest, because they're actually they nest in the hollows of the caves and stuff like that, so it's dark in there. And these actual nodules, I want to call them nodules more than anything, other than papillae, but these nodules more than anything reflect the tiniest bit of actual light, that ambient light that actually comes into the nest. Okay, they don't actually emit light. There is no like little fluorescence there. They actually just emit light. I mean, they actually just reflect light, not emit light. Anyway, so we've actually talked to a few people, and they love to call these little reflectors and these tiny pearls as the tiny creepy pearls. That's what they like to refer to those as, because they're kind of a little bit on the creepy side, but they're fine. I mean, I like them. They're cute. Next. This is what it actually would look like in the nest if you were a Gouldian parent. So you can see that you can actually, when you go into the nest, you're like, oh, that's a spot. It's like kind of like an X marks the spot thing, but so the Gouldian parents actually feed them right there in the center, obviously. Next. How long do these papillae or nodules last? As the chicks actually get weaned, they actually stop being fed by their parents. They start to lose these, like in the picture right there. As you can see, they're actually really, really small at this point. You can barely see them, but they're still there. Okay, next. How can this help us? What do we use this stuff for? What do we need this information for as far as breeders and caretakers of these birds? Okay. So most of the times we actually have to wait until the chicks go through their first molt to actually literally identify all the color mutations that they're going to, or the other color combinations that they're going to have, okay, and what mutation they're going to be. But if we can get a jump on that, sometimes that information can be helpful. We can actually use this papillae, can I use nodules instead of papillae?
Please do. Please
So-
do.
We understand.
Yeah, gate markings, is that?
So let's go with nodules to
Okay.
substitute for papillae. So we can use these nodules to identify the color and the mutation of the back mutation specifically in the nest. Okay, these birds are notorious tossers. Okay, one thing you can actually do is when they toss one of their chicks, and you see a consistency of them tossing chicks that have the same nodule coloration, you can say, oh, wait a second, these guys don't really like yellowbacks in their nests. They're only tossing my yellowbacks. Or they're actually just tossing blue-bodied chicks. What is with the blue-bodied chicks that this particular pair does not like? So you can actually use that information for your breeding program. The other thing we can use is actual nodule identification or identification of the mutations in the nest is that when you actually use fosters and you actually have one chick from nest A that's actually going to be a yellow bodied, if you can identify it by the nodules, you put it in the nest, there is no other way to mark it. Some people use magic markers, permanent markers, certain nails and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But if you can actually tell what mutation is going to be and you put it in the nest, and you put like 5 Gouldian chicks in the nest and one from every different mutation, you can use those colors to say, oh, mutation A comes from nest 1. Mutation B, which is not the same mutation as mutation A, comes from nest 5. And mutation C comes from nest 10. So you can actually use this to your advantage in the breeding program and raising these chicks. And actually, then you can, you'll be better off knowing what chicks belongs to what pair, especially if they both look normal and you have like sex-linked or recessive actual mutations. You can say, oh, those guys are split to this whatever, because they're not raising their own chicks. So it's really helpful to actually have this information. Next. This is an old normal Gouldian chick. If you notice the nodules on the corner of the mouth here, it has a little, kind of a dark area here. It's like black, and then it has blue, and then there's a white tip. And the middle nodule here is yellow. So you'll see this consistent pattern on normal Gouldian chicks. Okay? And this chick probably turns out to be, next.
Sorry.
This chick turns out to be something like that. Okay? Next. A pastel chick, or what we here in the United States refer to it as the dilute body. Okay? If you notice that this is a normal chick, it has black, blue, and white. And the middle is yellow. And the dilute body, the tip of the beak is brown, a brownish color, is not black.
Yeah.
The actual nodule here is blue, and the tip is white, and it has yellow, and yellow on the bottom there of the beak as well. So you can tell that this is going to be a dilute. Actually, let me not call this a dilute. I want to correct this. Because as far as I could tell, the documentation that I read and the book that I got from Dr. Marshall, dilutes are actually rare to have in an aviary outside of the Australia. What we call a dilute is actually a pastel. Okay, single factor pastels or double factor pastels, as we call them, single factor dilutes or double factor dilutes. Okay, the mutation, the problem with that is that mutation is almost identical, especially in the white breast series. You actually see that they look almost identical, but they're not. Okay, it's also just like the Australian yellow, right? If you have an Australian yellow with the actual white breast, you can't tell the difference between that and actually a double factor pastel, right? With a white breast. Can you tell the difference?
No.
No. It's kind of hard.
Even in the line?
Even in
between
that,
them?
yes.
Okay.
Any questions about that? Next. Okay. This is actually a pastel.
Okay.
Okay. That's what we call a dilute here, but actually it's a
Right,
pastel. Okay. Next. The dilute, if you can see, the body really looks washed out. The Humulanian on it.
Is that a real dilute or an Australian dilute?
This is a dilute period that they actually.
Called
I took this picture off the web off this site that's actually pretty good about. I would personally expect the bib and stuff like that to be diluted as well, like a grayish color, and actually a light gray color.
Can we see the previous
Next.
photo again?
Now that's
Like
the,
that.
See,
Yeah.
that's substantially different, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the black marking
Yes.
is wider here.
Yes.
Well,
than it is
not
on
only
the
that,
previous
but
one.
look at the blue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Be-
blue's faded
see
out, yeah.
behind the, behind the red, right?
Yeah, yeah,
See how much more prominent that is?
yeah.
So again, what we call a dilute here is actually a pastel.
Okay.
This is a blue body chick. And a blue body chick, there is no yellow there. The
Oh,
yellow
wow.
is actually absent.
Of
Okay.
Yeah, which you would expect, right? Because all the yellow in a blue-body bird, all the yellow
It's suppressed.
is
So,
suppressed.
Yeah, that's the
right.
mutation.
So
yeah.
you would expect that, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was explaining to a lot of people the combination of yellow and blue is green, obviously.
That's
Right,
right.
right.
That's what I try to, you know, when I judge,
that-
when I'm talking about Gouldians,
Mhm.
what I try to express to people is every mutation in a Gouldian takes away something from the natural Gouldian.
Right.
Nothing is ever added.
Correct.
Only something
Yes.
is taken away.
That is correct. Yeah.
That's really interesting on the mouth.
But that totally makes sense to
It
me.
does.
Okay.
Really does.
So this is actually obviously a blue. You don't see any yellow anywhere
No,
near the mouth. Okay.
nothing.
Next. And that's what that bird will probably end up looking like. Okay. Now remember, we're actually talking about body color. We're not talking about breast color. We're not talking about anything
Just
else.
body.
This is body color. Okay.
Okay.
This is a yellow-bodied chick, which I would call a pastel with a white breast, right? A double pastel pastel with a white breast. Okay. So you'll notice that
We can go
the
that deep tomorrow. I
nodules
guarantee
there is no black here, and the nodules on the end are blue.
you.
Tip is white, and it has yellow there.
Yeah.
Okay. Not the
Oh,
black,
sorry.
not the black, blue, and white that the
Right,
normal has.
right.
Okay. There is no yellow there either.
No.
So on the pastel, you saw the yellow there at the bottom and stuff like that, right? Remember that? Next. That's what they probably would end up look like. I took this picture off the web because they were just yellow body, and one of
Yeah.
them had the
So
white breast mutation, and the other one didn't.
help me out just a second. They'll say single factor and double factor.
Yes.
And the difference between the two is
A single factor pastel, females cannot be a double factor pastel.
Yes.
Okay.
because double factor is what?
The double factor is because it's a sex-linked mutation, and the
Sex-linked,
female.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
So the female, if it has a single factor, will actually look yellow. You will
Okay.
never see a pastel female like that
Pastel
color.
slash dilute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Never. Ever.
No, you don't. I agree. Yeah.
So you never see
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So what you see is a male will have two body colors, either the pastel color or the yellow body. That's what the double factor. It
Okay.
becomes a yellow body.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
So it could be normal though.
There is no normal once you add one mutation to it. One
the hen.
step away. No, the hen cannot be a normal if it has a single factor in it. If it has any type of mutation in it, it's not normal. What do you mean? Well, ask that question.
A carrier.
No, a female
No,
cannot be a
'cause remember,
carrier.
XX.
Got it.
XX,
Females cannot be
Females
a
are
carrier
XX.
of a mutation
Yeah.
that's actually sex
and the
linked.
males are XY.
Right.
So you have to start there.
It's CW
VW.
and bird.
It's like, yeah, CFW, lightbacks, fawns. And hen's always going to be fawn, but the male's going to be split. Or, you know what I'm saying? Like, or
If you
normal.
take a yellowback male and breed it to a normal hen, any hens are going to be.
None
look
of those hens that
normal,
look normal,
but
none
they're-
of those hens will be split to that pastel. None of them. 0%. Now, if that male has a white breast, they'll be split to white breast, but not to the pastel mutation. No.
That's because white breast is autosomal.
No
Yeah.
female, no females will carry it. Only the male.
It's literally not possible. It's actually proof. I'm 100% positive about
Well,
that.
I
Because-
don't doubt that. I'm just.
Trying to clarify.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about canaries? This is my level of
Yeah,
expertise. So
yeah.
in canaries, a brown hen, okay, it's either a brown hen or it's not. There is no in between. There is no brown hen carrier, right?
Cinnamon, yeah.
Cinnamon is yellow with
Yeah.
brown, so
Yeah.
that's why I use brown. The colorbred guys, it applies
that's
to
not
every
the hen.
brown color.
The hens aren't cinnamon, are they?
Yes, the hen can be cinnamon. Let's get away from canaries because
Okay.
otherwise we enter
Yeah.
into another thing altogether. But let's stick with Gouldians. White breast is say the
Autosomal.
autosomal.
Yeah,
Okay, so it's
Right.
both of them can be carriers.
right.
When it comes to pastel, female cannot carry pastel. Female can show pastel, which then she becomes a yellow-bodied, but she cannot be a carrier of pastel.
It's because of the way the chromosomes are.
Yeah.
So it has
It's
ZW,
a sex-linked. It's a
and it would be linked
sex-linked.
to the Z chromosome. And so
It's a
she's only got
sex-linked
one.
mutation, right?
She's only got one sex-linked chromosome, the Z chromosome,
Right.
would carry the yellow factor,
Right.
and so she would be ZW. The male would be ZZ, so he could carry it on both
Right.
and have two copies.
That's what I think that's what I was trying to
Trying
say.
to see all the time, yeah, that's what he was trying to
That's what I was trying to say.
say, yeah.
She could
The
be
sex chromosomes
ZW.
are opposite of what they are in humans, whereas
Yeah.
XY
Yeah,
is
right.
male
Of
has
course.
a
Yeah.
different
Yeah.
sex.
Yeah. Yeah. But she could be ZW.
Yeah, she would be ZW, and she would be carrying this on her Z chromosome.
That-
Z chromosome.
That's what.
And the male would carry
Right.
two copies or one.
But I,
One would
Right.
be a dilute.
They
Two
can't have
copies would be yellow.
Of course. Right. Right. And that's
no,
what
but
I was.
there's exceptions to, and it can on the dilute.
Okay, on some mutations, there's no sex-linked mutation, as far as I know, no sex-linked mutation that's actually, and I'm gonna stick with X and Y. Okay, Z and ZW, I'm not.
Yeah. Okay,
So let's stick
that's
with
fine.
X and Y.
You know.
In
Call
the
it what you will,
in the
it's the same.
birds carry two X chromosomes. They're males.
Right.
X and Y, they're a female.
Right.
Y is the absence of that sex. Blah 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 blah. Whatever. All right.
Right.
So you can only carry a sex-linked mutation on the X. So once you carry that mutation, you show it.
Yep.
Okay? You cannot carry it on the Y, and it cannot be, how can I say this? It cannot be suppressed or carried on the X without showing it. You have to show it. Okay?
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Right.
All right.
Okay. So,
Silver body check. You notice that actually it just like the blue and stuff like that,
Right.
but this one actually has a brown upper beak,
yeah.
okay? And the blue, the upper beak was black, right? It has white and blue, and then there is white
Yeah.
there. There's no yellow anywhere, obviously
No.
because it's silver body, right? That's what, you know. You know, I looked for so many pictures of silvers.
Mhm.
And I couldn't find a picture that actually said, "This is a silver Gouldian."
What
One
they
that
call
actually,
this?
because of the pastel and the
Oh.
Australian yellow
Yeah, yeah.
with combination with blue.
Yeah.
If you can find pictures on the web all day long about birds that look silver, and they're a different thing altogether. The guys call them different things. That's why we should probably settle on some, common.
all
What
you
would
got
the
to
one
do.
in the back be then?
That's also silver, but it has the breast color is there. This is just a white breast.
Yeah. Okay.
All you got to do is find a white society and call it a silver.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, next. This is actually going to be a white body check to go to Bob's
Uh-huh.
point here. You notice that the nodules on the end here will be purple or violet. Sorry, violet is my favorite color.
Okay.
And then the actual, there will be no yellow, instead of me just saying that this is white body. There'll be no yellow there present anywhere, okay? So it'll have, and it'll have the light brown area there as well. Doesn't have a black peak. So it'll be violet instead of blue, and then it'll have a white tips, right?
Mhm.
That's what it's gonna look like. That's Bob's favorite bird.
White
Bob's
Gouldian.
favorite Gouldian.
White society.
White society, black-eyed white.
Black-eyed white.
Okay. Next. Any questions? This is short and sweet.
Yeah, that was very clear.
Awesome.
Very clear.
Go
I
ahead,
had
Clara.
no idea.
Clear as mud.
In your research, did you
No.
happen to notice if there was less of a tendency for the parents to feed them when they get to barely any color in the nodules?
Because the thing is that I think anybody that actually breeds Gouldian has this experience where one pair will toss their entire nest no matter what,
Yes.
and another pair will toss just specific chicks. What what's his name, Marshall. I don't think he actually came up with a conclusion of, you know, he didn't have enough numbers, or he didn't really look at that per se. That would have been a great study to do, like saying, you know, these blue-bodied parents are actually always tossing the, you know, pastel chicks, or any chicks with white breasts or whatever. Or something. That would have been a great thing to.
Well,
No.
because of this, though, we can look at the chicks that are tossed and see if they're tossing normal chicks or one of the mutations.
Yeah, the funny thing is that if you a good thing for with this is also if you're doing colony breeding and you know that there's only one pair that actually produces that type of chick,
Yeah.
and if you have 10 nests and you do colony breeding and you see the chick in the floor, where does that chick belong?
Yeah, right.
If you can actually use this information, you can say, oh, I know this chick is from this nest, and that's 8, because they're the only ones that actually can throw that mutation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Very good point.
Which we sure, if everybody kind of pays attention, we could probably get that information.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it would be a good thing. to
Any other
study.
questions?
No, it's very
I think this is more for like people who breed specific mutations or looking for some specific mutations, like breeding in individual cages,
Yeah.
breeding cages, like that. You could know exactly what's going on in the nest with the color and who tossing the babies out, why, and you could trying to find out why they're tossing the babies out.
Well, yeah,
Also,
that's, and I'm just wondering, I'm thinking, well, geez, maybe they've been tossing if I had the blue ones. They tossed them.
It'll be an interesting study, and I think we
It'll
have
be
enough
interesting.
Gouldian breeders in the
Yeah.
NFS and across the plant to actually
Yeah,
collectively
to kinda-
collect this information. I should say, you know what, these guys are, you know, repeatedly or consistently tossing this type of bird,
this type
this
of mutation.
mutation. Yes.
Well, the zoos are saying that we need the census on the birds all across to help keep aviculture, the private aviculture, is going. Because people are so worried about, gee, I don't want people to know what I'm breeding or they're this kind of birds. But unless we have the census, we can't document anything.
Right.
And people don't participate in the census. Speaking of collecting data on the Gouldians that they toss, see if people would even participate in that.
Well, thank you everybody for attending. We'll see you next year.
Thank you.
Oh, and Sally's going to make sure to come back next year
Yeah.
after that statement.